Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. Tonight, my main focus is on Michael Saylor. In fact, Michael Saylor was just on Benjamin Cowen's on his channel, and they had a long interview. So I'm going to share with you my thoughts, give you my response to this interview, and hopefully me and Ben can talk it out afterwards. I officially invited him to come on this channel, or he can have me on his channel, because I really thought this was interesting. He did bring up a lot of things that I want to talk about, but overall I want to respond to this interview. Also, there's other good news I want to share with you guys, and for those of you guys that tuned in, because I promised I was going to share the only joke that I know, and one that is definitely worth waiting for. Well, you came to the right place, and I'm going to share that later tonight. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. As always, smash a like, subscribe to the channel. 2 streams every day, 11:30 and 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, so make sure you hit that notification bell to get notified. And also follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, CryptosRUs.com, and maybe OnlyFans. All right, guys, let's do this. Welcome tonight. Lively crowd. And that's because overall market is doing pretty darn good. Bitcoin is crawling back to 35,000. But not only that, Bitcoin dominance has dropped, mostly because Ethereum has gone up quite a bit, and several others have gone up a bit. So overall, BTC dominance have dropped, even though it has come up a little bit. And that is why, if you look at the overall portfolio that I built not too long ago, it's back up to 57.23. Although I did buy $100 more this morning of Cosmos, so it brought it up a little bit. But overall, the portfolio is looking pretty darn good. And this is something, like I've been saying, I'll add $100 every single week. We'll go dollar cost average until the end of the year and see where this ends up. All right. So overall market, pretty good. Now, I did want to say something real quick before I dive into that interview. This is big news. George Soros, yes, another George, his firm, confirmed. Confirmed to have bought Bitcoin. So I don't know what to think about this. Those of you guys that know George Soros, he's a ruthless character. So his firm has bought Bitcoin, and his CIO, Don Fitzpatrick, also has talked about not only buying Bitcoin, but also buying other digital currencies. I'm sure Ethereum is on her mind. I'm sure Cardano and Polygon and all these other assets are on her mind. So it seems like this was talked about years ago, whether or not he was really going to jump in, because he was still a little bearish a few years ago. But now it seems like he has. So this could be good or bad, depending on how you look at it. This could bring billions upon billions upon billions of dollars into the space. But is it like a Trojan horse? We know Soros have done some things. Hostile takeovers, or massive short positions, or trying to liquidate the competition. Is he going to do something like that in the crypto space? I don't know. So it really depends on I guess what happens. But this is big news that pretty much is confirmed that he started buying Bitcoin, and his firm is going to start buying other cryptos as well. All right. Let's get to this interview. So first of all, I'm going to be completely honest. I took some notes here. Completely honest, I have been talking with Michael Saylor's people, and hopefully he does agree to come on my channel, because I have some interesting questions to ask, right? But when I first heard about this, I heard Ben announce this, I was quite surprised, because for the most part, Ben is a chartist, someone that really follows the charts, and I was like, okay, what is he going to ask Michael? But I think he asked some good questions. But I gotta say, I'm gonna be 100%, and I'm gonna be honest. Hopefully, this doesn't hurt my chances of getting Michael on the show. This was not a good interview. This was not a good interview, and it's not Ben's fault at all. It's not. He asked some basic questions And the answers were just enormously long and convoluted and defensive at certain points. So here's the overall things that Ben asked. And this is a 2-hour and 13-minute interview. Over 2 hours. And when I first saw this, I'm like, wow, this must be one of the greatest interviews ever, because Michael, usually his interviews, especially with CNBC, is like a few minutes. Some of his other interviews, maybe like, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, something like that. Not 2 hours, not over 2 hours. I'm like, this has to be an epic interview. There must be like, 30 or 40 questions asked. But no, in total, there was only 6 questions. Actually, it's really 5 if you discount his very first question, which was just to, just to have Michael talk about the lay of the land. What are your overall thoughts? He basically started out saying, Michael, we kind of know what your thoughts on our Bitcoin and everything, right? But, why don't you just go over it again? And Michael spent 20 minutes giving a spiel about Bitcoin. 20 straight minutes on one single question about overall thoughts. And Michael repeated a lot of stuff that he said before about, how Bitcoin is like buying a piece of land in Manhattan. It's granite, and it's the best thing that you could buy right now. All the stuff that he has said before, but 20 minutes straight. And then Ben got to this question about diversification. Now, here's the interesting thing. Ben admitted, and I don't know, maybe you guys know this, he admitted that he owns more equity than Bitcoin and crypto, which is interesting. There's not too many people that talk about crypto that actually have a diversified portfolio like that, right? I know some people own stocks and equities, of course, right? Maybe bonds and so forth, but I was quite surprised to hear Ben say that he owns more equities than Bitcoin. I think he said substantially more. So kind of interesting. But anyways, so leading on, he was asking Michael about diversification. Now, he wasn't asking him about diversification among crypto, not like he was trying to get Michael to say, oh, should you diversify from Bitcoin into Ethereum or Cardano or whatever. No, he was just basically asking, hey, how do you judge, how do you balance your portfolio between Bitcoin and, let's say, equities? And I think he asked this because he knew Michael has brought this up many times in the past, how he invested in early tech stocks like Apple many times and others, and he has done very well with them, right? So obviously Michael invests in equities. So he was asking him, so how do you build your portfolio? How do you diversify, right? I thought that was a fair question. And again, Michael answered for this time 30 minutes straight. 30 minutes straight. And the whole thing really had nothing to do with diversification at all. Basically, Michael's stance is, just go with Bitcoin. He made a lot of example about how diversifications is bad. How, he made a point like, okay, if everything's going to go to zero except one thing, then why would you want to diversify? He also made another example where he talked to hedge funds before that would put very little into tech back in the day, and they would sell off tech or Apple when it become too overbearing or overweighted in a certain category. So Michael was making an argument that diversification is for fools, that basically you don't want to diversify. You want to bet on the winners. And clearly right now, Bitcoin is the winner. And then he also talked about Venezuela and other countries and how basically it doesn't matter what you invest in. It's all pegged to the Venezuela peso or dollar, whatever their currency is. He also made an example about Titanic, right? Would you diversify into anything on a Titanic while it was sinking? So honestly, that answer was just so long and so convoluted, and it made him, quite honestly, Michael, a little defensive, because Ben was simply just trying to get him to say, hey, it's fine to diversify. And then Ben also got flustered because Michael was kind of coming after him a little bit, and he's like, no. What I'm trying to summarize is, do you believe that everyone should just go 100% in Bitcoin? Is that basically what you're saying? That everything else is a losing bet and that you should go 100% in Bitcoin? And the answer is, I guess, yes, because there was no answer to that. Michael answered again, but in a very roundabout way, to basically say, yes, you should only have Bitcoin and nothing else. So Michael's staying true to his Bitcoin Maximus or Maxi stance, but not against other crypto, against everything out there. Like nothing else is a winning bet except Bitcoin at this point. So that was kind of interesting. Dewey says Saylor basically interviewed himself. No, he didn't, but he just answered in a very long and long answers. Let's just put it that way. Bid Moon, yeah, he hates FUD. You better have better audio than Ben. Yeah, Ben had problems with echo, so hopefully that's not a problem. That's embarrassing, but you can't stop in the middle, right? But obviously, yeah. So that was 1 hour of the 2 hours, just basically 2 questions. So think about that. Ben was just like sitting there. He's just really being patient, right? And then Ben asked about Ethereum. Hey, what do you think about Ethereum? What do you think about everything that's being built on Ethereum? Asked about Michael. Michael kind of gave the same example. Bitcoin is a property. Ethereum is basically a company. And if you were going to invest in Ethereum, you're basically acting like a VC. You're basically speculating that Ethereum and all the dApps built on Ethereum can compete with centralized exchanges and banks and insurance companies and all these things. Okay, so basically you're basically speculating and you're trying to make 100x or 1000x, which is true. But Michael's issue is that there's regulatory concerns that the SEC and SCFTC will come down hard possibly on some of these projects because these are things that they regulate. In a centralized world, in the stock market world, in anything outside of crypto, these are the things they regulate, and it's just a matter of time they come to decentralized dApps and regulate them the same way. He's talking about DeFi. So again, circling back, he's like, if you want to speculate on companies, then sure, go ahead with Ethereum and so forth. But if you had $1 billion and you could only put it into digital properties such as gold or digital companies such as Ethereum, then my money is putting it on digital property. It's going to be less regulated. So again, going back to Bitcoin and sticking with Bitcoin, mostly because he's concerned about regulatory concerns. Okay, interesting. Now, the last 2 things, not really a debate, but again, it got a little heated. I don't know. I think I missed the question or just led to it. But Michael was, was talking about fundamentals of Bitcoin, looking at the bigger picture. And Ben was saying that even though he does do charts and data and shows, charts and so forth, but it's basically like presenting data like Michael. But Michael doesn't agree with that. He thinks that charts and other things like charts basically are trying to predict the future based on the past. And he doesn't like that. He doesn't like that at all. And he made this weird example how if you had a bow and arrow and you brought it to a gunfight, you wouldn't show statistics about how gun and bow and arrows have done previously against other bow and arrows, because now you're fighting a gun or someone with a gun. Some example like that. It was kind of weird, and even Ben was like, okay. So basically what Michael's trying to say is he doesn't like charts. He likes data. He likes all the data that he's presenting about inflation and how currencies are being devalued. And basically you go with the apex predator, and that's Bitcoin. You should ignore all else. It's just noise. So you should pick on Bitcoin. And then lastly, I think one thing led to another, and Michael talked about how, you should take advantage of low interest rates and utilizing that money to invest into Bitcoin and so forth. And Ben brought up the fact that, well, you should never invest more than what you could afford to lose, because too many people took loans and got wrecked in 2017. And you got to be careful. And that's honestly, of course, you should not invest more than what you can afford to lose, which is why I always say, don't leverage. When you leverage, you get wrecked. And if you borrow against your crypto, there is a chance that you could also get wrecked. Even though it's a slight chance, but yeah. So basically 2 hours and 13 minutes where Ben asked 6 questions, and that was it. But I gotta say, this was not one of Michael's better interviews. So hopefully me kind of explaining this does not hurt my chances of Michael coming onto the show. I do have questions, very interesting questions, and I'll guarantee you no one has asked Michael these questions before, and there's no doubt that there's going to be no confusion, no animosity. It's going to be a good interview. But I am inviting Ben. Like I said, Ben is a good guy. A lot of you guys love him. So I do want to talk to him. I just want to talk to him. I want to answer some of these things he asked and other things, right? So I shot him a response over here to his video on Twitter, and you guys can reply to that. So hopefully we could set something up. Either he comes onto my channel or I go on his channel. We could hash things out. We could have a good talk overall. But I did put the link of this interview in my description, so in case you guys want to watch it, go ahead and do so. Just be warned, there's a lot of Michael talking. Let's just put it that way. A lot of it, way more than any other interview I've seen before. All right, what else is there? Jack Dorsey, also a Bitcoin Maximus. It's funny because Twitter just today announced that they were coming out a whole line of NFTs. And it's on Referral, and Referral is on Ethereum. So everything is being done on Ethereum right now. Jack Dorsey also sold NFT of a very first tweet of his for like $3 million. Again, that was done on Ethereum. So people are speculating that he's going to get into Ethereum, right? But he answered no. Basically, he's still staying true to his Bitcoin heritage, like nothing but Bitcoin, right? But the funny thing is, all these NFTs are done on Ethereum, so you can't say that Ethereum and anything else is a shitcoin when obviously there's a use case because you're using it to mint NFTs, right? So it's just kind of funny that way. That's why I don't get. I mean, Michael Saylor even broke it down, right? You have Bitcoin being digital property, a store of value, right? That doesn't change. And then you have Ethereum, Cardano, Polygon, whatever. They're all decentralized projects, decentralized companies. They're trying to come out with, they're the infrastructure or the operating system for next-gen dApps. They don't compete with Bitcoin. But I feel like Bitcoin maxis feel like they're threatened by Ethereum and DeFi, so they have to bash it. No, they don't compete at all. They don't compete at all. That's like saying you're bashing Google because you like gold. Like that would be the equivalent of it. The two have nothing to do with each other, right? Like I just don't get it. I don't get why you have to bash. Why can't you just like both, or just say, okay, it's not for me. Maybe you think there is regulatory concerns like Michael or whatever, right? But there's way too much bashing of altcoins from the Bitcoin maxis. I just don't know why. I just think it's silly. All right, moving on from there. Robinhood. This is not really a crypto news, but it's out. Robinhood ordered to pay $70 million over significant harm to customers. $70 million is nothing for Robinhood. Okay, this should be $700 million. The amount of money people lost when Robinhood cut trading to GME was probably well in the billions, okay? Not 70 million. So those people that lost out, that couldn't trade, that couldn't end their option call, or whatever, was way more than 70 million. So this is really just a slap in the wrist. Although the funny thing is, the irony is, it's the largest fine FINRA have ever issued, which is really ridiculous. It just shows you how unfair that is. how insignificant. They value retail investors. They just like, okay, who cares? Basically that's it. That's it. Here's super chat. George, I'm also George with DCA portfolio that's overweight with altcoins holding BTC. Should I choose BTC, ETH, or for DCA? Well, you just said you're overweight with altcoins. Then you already answered yourself. Go with Bitcoin. 50, 25, 25. Try to stick with that. If you're a little off, that's fine. But if you're really, really overweight in altcoins, then you know the answer. You know the answer. Adobe, why is Ultra not in your portfolio? It's the only project I found that can survive, and that's not true, and you're just making that up. Unfortunately, you led with a good thing with a very bad thing. This shows you that you're just trying to shill one project. The reason why I don't have more projects is because I ran out of money. And second of all, even though I like Ultra, what you said, the only project that can survive and thrive in a bear market, makes you look 100% like a shill of Ultra. And that doesn't serve anyone well. You gave no information why you like Ultra, and you made a really ridiculous assumption. So, although I appreciate the super chat, I appreciate your enthusiasm, you just 100% ruined that. Matthew, thank you for that. All right, what else is there? Telcoin V3. Some of you guys like Telcoin. Now, this is a big thing. I've seen V3. I didn't quite understand what it was, but it's a big thing. Big thing. First of all, they're coming out with their own Ethereum sidechain. But the interesting thing is they're using Polygon's SDK to build it. So they're utilizing Polygon's second layer solution to build out Ethereum sidechain, which is a big deal. So now they don't have to worry about Ethereum and high gas costs and congestion. That is done. Also, they're coming out with their own Tel exchange so that you can actively trade. It's basically their own DeFi swap play. And they're coming out with another SMS network, which basically just decreases fees. In case you don't know, Telcoin is all about remittance, and they're just executing really well. So Telcoin V3, obviously today also Theta's network. There's a lot of stuff. Chili's did a UFC drop. There's a lot of good things. A lot of good things. All right. Speaking of Polygon, for those of you guys that want to utilize your IRA and 401k to trade, well, I Trust Capital just added Polygon. I've been telling you guys how much they've been killing it in terms of adding new coins to trade with your 401k and Roth IRA and our IRA. So check them out. Polygon has just been added today. And also about BlockFi, they are changing their rates, but they're adding 3 new coins. And they are DAI and Basic Attention Token and Uniswap. And here's their new rates. Unfortunately, like BTC and ETH and a lot of these, their rates have gone down due to demand. But their new one, DAI, is still pretty good at 8.5%. And of course, they have Uniswap and BAT. Both are fantastic projects. So if you want to earn some passive income, check out BlockFi. All right, that's pretty much it. I know some of you guys are talking about Soros. Yeah, I don't know if Soros coming in is a good thing or not. So I don't know. Scott says he makes Elon look like Mother Teresa. It is what it is. You can't stop him, right? It's an open market, so you can't stop anyone from entering that game. What do you think about fixing chargebacks? Star, which got listed today on CMC, is solving that problem in the adult industry. What are you talking about, Elon? With crypto, it solves the problem with chargeback. You can't request a crypto back. It doesn't matter which crypto you use, even Bitcoin or Ethereum or Litecoin even. You can't charge back. So what are you talking about? Again, you probably work for that company, but that's a really weak argument. This is a really weak argument. If you're going to try to sell your crypto, you better not use that as an argument. Origin Trail, huge partnerships already. I already know about them. Origin Trail is a supply chain space. They supply chain project. They've been in it for a quite long time. The problem is they don't compete with VeChain or anyone else. They're just nowhere close. So, but I know they've been around for a while. Yearn Finance, I've never gotten to Yearn because they got hacked like 3 times, so I just can't trust them. But the leader, Andrew Crony, You know, he has a tight relationship with Sushi. They merge. They have a tight relationship with Phantom. Yeah, he's involved with a lot of DeFi projects, but Yearn, I mean, they've been hacked one too many times. So you can like Google and Amazon, both important projects. The same applies to BTC and ETH, right? Yeah, but you know, BTC is not really like Google and Amazon. BTC is like, you know, digital gold, right? But ETH and Cardano and Polygon and Binance Coin and everything else, yeah, is like these new, you know, like a new version of what exists, right? There's a lot of decentralized stuff that's trying to replace centralized stuff. Doesn't mean it's going to happen overnight, or doesn't mean it's going to happen at all. You know, there's 10,700 cryptos out there. So maybe 1%. 1% would be about 100 projects. Maybe 1% survive and 99% do not. But that 1% that survives, they will be the future Google, Amazon, Microsoft, and Facebook, and Spotify, right? Those are the ones that people are speculating in, right? And they are very different than digital gold, which is why you don't need to bash each other, because they're not even in the same. They're not. The only thing that's the same is, yeah, they use blockchain. They use blockchain technology, but they serve very different purposes. Very different purposes. So I do agree. Ali, what do you think about stacks, DeFi on BTC? I've heard about it. You know, it's just that it's trying to bring smart contracts to BTC, and you could do that. You know, you could have a layer 2 on BTC. That's what Michael wants. Michael talked about how he doesn't know if DeFi will just exist on Ethereum. It could exist on Bitcoin too. And there are companies like Stacks that's trying to do so, right? But I just feel like it's not efficient. If you just do it on something that is built for DeFi, it's just more efficient that way. Raise Network, that looks familiar. I think I looked at Raise before. Really, really, really small. Really small. Yeah. Cross-chain privacy protocol for Polkadot ecosystem. So the answer is probably no. And the reason being because it's very low volume, very low cap. Polkadot projects don't pump, and it's in the privacy space, which doesn't really do well. So there's too many no's with that. Sidecoin's okay. Decentralized storage. You know, they're trying to come out of Skynet. Miles says buy the dip. I agree with that. Sidecoin's just okay to me. All right. Anything else? Anything important? Hey, Max, I'm just trying to be real. I honestly felt like Michael did not want to be on Ben's channel. That's what I felt like. Like, I think at the beginning, he felt like, you know, his demeanor was different. You could tell, like, recently when he's been doing, like, CNBC interviews, he's more upbeat, more smiling, you know, more friendly. But this interview with Ben just seemed like he did not want to be there. I mean, to be honest, to be 100% honest. I could be 100% wrong, but it just seemed like he didn't want to be there. But I guarantee you, if he comes on my channel, I'm going to make it more fun, not as boring. I'm going to have some interesting questions. I'm not going to try to pin him on whether or not he believes he should buy in something else besides Bitcoin. We know that's not going to be the case, right? So I'm going to focus on other things that he cares about. For example, his education, his free education, and lead towards those kind of things that I think he'll have a lot more passion to talk about. What is your DCA? It's Wednesday. What are you putting money into? I put it in this morning. For me, I'm DCA on the dips right now. I'm not following a schedule. Although it's a schedule, I think if I followed a schedule, it would have been more beneficial. But right now, I'm doing it on the dips. I'm working on a Flare network, or I'm trying to understand it and get an article up. So, not a whole lot of people talk about. Flare. Max, I think you need to just quit while you're ahead. You trying to make me feel bad about my critique of what happened, it's not going to work. Do you think PancakeSwap will be in the top 10? It's going to be hard. It could. I mean, obviously, Uniswap is there. Can I replace Uniswap one day? Possibly. But it's going to take some time. What dApps are you wanting to see on ADA? I mean, the only one I'm really focused on is Ergo right now. That's the only one that I really understand, and the one that seems like it has a lot of promise. There's a lot of other ones that's waiting to spin up, like there's AMMs and swaps and stuff like that. I'm sure those would do fine. It's just, yeah. Dimitri, I think she's married, so you're not gonna have any chances. You're not gonna have any chance at all. Do you see ADA outperforming BTC? I don't know. Yeah, I think short term, yes. You know, whenever there's altcoin season, Cardano can certainly outperform Bitcoin. But long term, 5, 10, 20 years, I don't see anything outperforming Bitcoin. What else is there? Is there a process I use for finding a winner from the May small project, or is it experience intuition? A little bit of everything. There's a few things you can look at right away. Number one is the team. The team is obvious, right? Are they proven? Do they have a good track record? Have they, created other companies? If they do, then it's a good sign that they can lead and they can make a successful project, right? So that, and then also you got to just look at the idea. So many of these ideas are just so ridiculous. It's too encompassing or too complicated, or it's just like a useless meme coin. Just take a step back and think about, is the idea even good? And if so, then you kind of move forward. But if it's bad idea to begin with, then you should stop right there, right? But there's other things, so yeah. What YouTubers do you trust or recommend? I honestly don't watch anyone. I don't watch anyone besides myself. So, but from what I hear, like Ben is a good guy. Altcoin Daily is a good guy. There's a few in the space that's pretty good, but I don't really actively watch anyone. I just pay attention to myself. And I mean, I've been on Rand's show a lot. I mean, he's a good guy. It's like it's fun to be on his show sometimes. Thoughts on bigger short on Reddit? What? Google 2008? I don't know. I don't know. You mean the bigger short guy? Is that what you're talking about? I'd say just ignore him for now. Until he's right again. I like Harmony. I think they will do well. I think they'll get back to their game. I don't know anything about SLP or the Axie game. Chai. Yeah, I usually just go on Jason and just like Jason's show and just troll him a little bit. I'd like to do that with Jason's channel too. Jordan's channel. Solana partner with Happy. What do you think? I'm not a fan of Happy. They're just the oracle for that specializes in security, but I'm not so sure that any other company can't do the same thing. Someone says I missed the point on Star. What point did I miss? Other than it's a dead project. As at, okay, thank you. All right, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Overall, ooh. Unfortunately, Bitcoin went down a little bit. It was at 35,000, but it's okay. Bitcoin is still stuck, going sideways. You know, we're still waiting for it to break out, but altcoins are showing some strength today. That's why BTC dominance went down, right? We'll see. Overall, you know, my DCA on my portfolio has done pretty well, over 10%. So I'm going to keep monitoring and see what happens. But interesting interview, to say the least. So you guys check it out yourself if you haven't, and make your own opinions. George Soros, another George, maybe the evil kind or the inverse of George. I don't know if this is a good thing or not. Probably not, but he is in the game, so we'll just have to see. And there's other good stuff that happened today. All right, guys, that's it. Thanks for tuning in. As always, smash a like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. All right, have a good one, guys.